Hey Weldon, we're going to start straw weaving today. I'm super excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you'll think it's fun. You can make like a bookmark, or you can make a cuff, like a bracelet if you want to. But we're going to be using straws to make our loom. So the first step, we have to make the loom. And so to do that, we're going to take our straw, okay, and your piece of yarn and kind of thread it in there. If you want to try to thread it the whole way, you can, but that's kind of a lot of work. So you just put it, suck gently. If you do it too hard, it goes in your mouth. Once you touch it, nobody else touches it. You're gonna fold down the top of the yarn. Okay, so it's through your straw. You're gonna fold it down. You're gonna take a small piece of tape. It doesn't matter what kind of tape you use. Any kind of will work, but you're gonna just tape that string to your straw, and you're going to repeat this. You want to have at least 3 straws to make your loom. If you want to do 4, that's fine. That's going to determine how wide it is. Okay, so on this one you can tell I used 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, because you can kind of see the shape of the straws. Of course, we'll take the straws out at the end, and you can actually reuse them. Like that's your loom. Okay, so go ahead and do that part, and then I'll show you.
All right, once you have your yarn laced through your straws, the next step is going to be to tie the yarn that's coming out of the end of the straws into a knot. So you want to knot that all together. You don't want it to be too close to the end of your straws. This determines the length of your project, but you can always tie it closer when you finish. So I would recommend doing it towards the end of your yarn. Wrap it around your finger, all 4 pieces, make a loop, and then you're going to push those 4 ends through the loop and pull it tight. You're welcome to rewind that if you need help with that. Now your loom is ready to start weaving. Now you got a kit from school, there'll be one continuous long piece of yarn. So I wanted to keep it kind of simple for the virtual kids since I'm not going to be there to help you troubleshoot. So you're going to take the end of your yarn, you're going to hold your straws in your non-dominant hand, the hand you don't write with. You're going to hold that end of that yarn under your thumb, okay? And that's going to give you your start. The first thing you're going to do is wrap it around the outside straw. You go in between and then around the other end. Back in between, and around the outside straw. Back in between, and around. And you're just going to continue in between, and around. As you do this, it's going to begin pulling your straws together so that you don't really have to hold them so tight anymore. It's gonna get your loom firmed up a little bit. So you're gonna continue that process around, in between, and around. As you are going, you can begin to push the weaving down towards your thumb. Now you wanna keep it on the straws as long as you possibly can.
All right, so you want to keep your weaving on your straws as long as you possibly can. But when you get really close to the top, like I am, you're going to move the weaving off of the straws, or begin to, because it gets kind of hard when you get up here in this tape. So what you're going to do, and I forgot to say this, I'm weaving under this camera, but honestly, the easiest way is to hold the straws against your tummy and weave in front of you. It's a little bit more awkward to, like, I'm just doing it for demonstration purposes so y'all can see what I'm doing. But you're gonna begin to move your weaving down off of your straws, which is kind of scary. Okay, just remember that knot that you tied is going to catch it. Okay, sometimes it's easier to do one straw at a time. Okay, now, if you still aren't finished and you want to continue weaving, once you move this off your straw, you have space now, so you can actually keep going. Now that you got a little more space on your loom, your weaving can just keep going and going and going. You can just continue it for as long as you have yarn down here. So that's kind of the cool thing about it. You can design it how you want. Now, if you're wanting to use multiple colors, when you start with a new color, you can do it one of two ways. You can tie your yarn together, like when you switch colors, or you can just kind of leave the tail hanging and pick up where you left off with the next color. And once it's all done and you take it off your straws, I just go back and trim the little pieces off, which you can kind of see on this one where one color stopped, and you can see where I kind of trimmed it off a little bit, but it doesn't look too bad. I am not a weaving expert, by the way. There will be students in my class who are much better at this than I am, I promise you. So this is definitely not my artistic gift. Okay, anyway, carrying on. So I'm gonna decide that I am finished, because this is gonna be, let's say, a bookmark. So I'm gonna pull out my straws carefully. Okay. There's one, there's another one, there's another one, and there's another one. Okay, so now it's off of my straws. This is the scary part. Okay, so we talked about the string down here and where your knot is. My knot needs to be a little bit closer, but rather than like continuing to slide it down, I'm just gonna retie the knot, and my end right here where I started, I'm just gonna wrap that in with it. Okay, so got my knot down here. I'm just gonna retie it closer to the end of my weaving, my bookmark, my bracelet, whatever it's gonna be. I'm gonna pull that knot up as close as I can get, and I'm just gonna pull it tight, okay? And there's one end. All right, now to get the other end off of your straw. So if I'm not gonna use the rest of this yarn, I'm gonna cut it. All right, now you can do this one of two ways. You can remove the tape up here and pull the yarn out, and that just feels like a lot to me, so I usually cut my straws, which if you're wanting to reuse your straws, save the turtles, that might not be what you want to do, but I usually just cut the ends of my straws off because I don't have time, feel like I have time to fool with that tape. Okay, and so once you're free, you're gonna pull that off. Again, I'm just gonna pull my end where I stopped in with the rest of these, okay? And it's a little looser down here than it is down here, and that's kind of just probably my error because I don't pull it as tight in the beginning. And I'm gonna wrap it around my finger, same kind of overhand knot, make a loop, and push all those ends through the loop, including when I get my little green one. I'm gonna get it as close as I can, and I'm going to pull. Okay, so then from there, you can decorate the ends with beads to make a bookmark. You can loop another piece of, this might be big enough to actually go around my wrist. Huh, it is. You can make it into a bracelet. You could continue going and make this into a really cool belt. You could use a bunch of different colors. So there's several different things you can do. You could make it into, make it wider and have like a coffee cozy. So there's a lot of things. I would love to see what you come up with if this is really your thing. So send me your pictures on Art City. I want to see how it turned out, and happy weaving.